Let's talk about Paul Phoenix. No, not you. Get out of here. Shoot. Sorry about that. The Paul Phoenix I actually want to talk about is this Paul Phoenix. You see, there are actually two Paul Phoenixes. There's Paul Phoenix and Paul Phoenix.
Let me show you.
That's a beauty.
Forget about that.
Allow me to explain. The Paul from Tekken 1 to Tekken 4 is strong, confident, hot-headed, he's admired worldwide, and he is the man who defeated Ogre. Paul from Tekken 5 to Tekken 8 is described as, and this is what is on the wiki, overconfident, muscle-brained, and slightly dim-witted. It's just such a... It's just such a shame that the man once defeating gods is reduced to a comic relief character. To me, they had a perfect opportunity to allow Paul to regain some respect in Tekken 8 without impacting the story at all. I'll go over this scenario towards the end of the video. For now, let's discuss the rise and fall of Paul Phoenix. Let's go back to the beginning. Paul is one of 3 characters that has been featured in every single Tekken game. Want to know the other 2? Go watch this video. Shameless plug. Okay, moving on. According to the Tekken 1 manual, it is stated that Paul previously fought Kazuya Mishima to a draw, and this is a feat in itself. While this isn't prime Kazuya, we all know how much of a beast he is. Anyway, sticking to the lore of Tekken 1, Paul made it all the way to the semis, beating Kuma. Trust me, this is important. Once he beat Kuma, he faced Kazuya and lost. He never fought Heihachi, who also lost to Kazuya. Could Paul beat Heihachi in Tekken 1? Maybe, but we'll never know for sure. So, in Tekken 1, Paul is a top 3 fighter. In Tekken 2, Paul is back to prove that he is the strongest, to get his rematch with Kazuya. At some point during the tournament, Paul faced Kuma and beat him again. This is important, trust me. And this is where the lore gets a bit funny, because the wiki says that he made it to the finals earning a rematch with Kazuya. But due to traffic caused by an accident, this is such a stupid lore reason, he had to forfeit his spot to Heihachi. I was always under the impression that Paul had to face Heihachi but missed that match, putting Heihachi through to the finals. So did he beat Heihachi previously? I'm unsure. But either way, Paul is still a top 3, if not a top 2 fighter, right alongside the Mishimas. Tekken 3. Paul is back for the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3. His rematch with Kazuya will have to wait though, because Kazuya is unalive. As per the wiki and the Tekken 4 prelude to Paul, Paul went undefeated through the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, defeating fighters including Kuma's son, Kuma. Yes, that's his name. And Jin Kazuma, knocking them out of the tournament. He also went and defeated the big bad Ogre, a demon, alien, biological weapon. It's a bit up in the air what it actually is, but it's referred to as the God of Fighting. This God of Fighting killed the original king and beat Beck so bad he got put into a year-long coma. So anyway, Paul beat that guy and said, well, my job here is done, and he bounced. And you know what? Fair enough. Because how was he even meant to know that Ogre would transform? He could have been standing there for an hour for all we know. So yeah, Paul left, and Ogre transformed into True Ogre, its final form. Jin decides to re-enter himself into the tournament to face True Ogre because things are all personal, kid, and defeated True Ogre. So basically, Jin cheated Paul out of his victory. Irrespective of these events, Paul is arguably the strongest fighter at this stage. Because I'm pretty sure that Heihachi lost to True Ogre. I don't know, but let's just say for the sake of this video that he did. Okay, so I'm going to make a quick detour to discuss Paul in Tekken Bloodline, which came out in August 2022. In summary, Bloodline is a Netflix adapted story of the events of Tekken 3. I'm actually unsure if Bloodline is canon or not. Some sources say it is, others say it's just purely an adaptation. Paul definitely has a good showing in Bloodline. Others hold him in such a high regard, and he comes across as such a genuine, down-to-earth guy that holds a lot of confidence in his ability. You can't not like the guy. Of course, he beats Kuma in this universe as well, and he makes it all the way to the semis where he lost to King. There's a few matches here that don't make a lot of sense to me, like Ling Xiaoyu beating Nina Williams. How does this even work? Oh, Ling is smart. Cool, man. Nina is a literal assassin. Sorry, moving on. Anyway, as Paul is about to face King, Heihachi says this to Jin, confirming Paul as a certified beast.
Had it not been for the power of the Devil Gene, Paul Phoenix would have defeated your father.
Plus 10 respect points to you, Paul. Nice job. So from here moving forward, I'm going to discuss the events leading on from Tekken 3 and not Bloodline. I think we can say that the event from Tekken 3 is canon, Otherwise, the story's flow is all weird. But then again, that's just Tekken in a nutshell. So we are talking as if Paul beat Ogre, bounced, and Jin took the credit. So, Tekken 4. Bad times for Paul. Very few people believed he went undefeated and was the one to initially beat Ogre. This causes his dojo to go out of business, causing Paul to be broke. One day, Paul comes across a newspaper flyer announcing the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. As stated in the Tekken 4 strategy guide, Paul, burning with the desire to win this tournament, decided to give it his all once again to prove that he was the one true champion. Once and for all, he had to win. Sounds like the perfect setting for a redemption. Yeah, well, you would be wrong, because Kuma defeats Paul.
Not Kuma again.
This apparently happens in the early stages of the tournament. Let me give Kuma some credit. He is trained by Hachi himself, and he did go spend time in his natural habitat to help rebuild the animal instincts he felt he lost due to being in the comfort of luxury, so that he could get his revenge on Paul. And he succeeded. Kuma is tough. I mean, he is a bear, but he's not a top tier law fighter, at least in my opinion. Some people say the end of Tekken 3 was the beginning of the downfall, but the moment he lost to Kuma, that was the beginning of the end in my opinion.
Paul! Hey, Paul! Paul!
Ain't my style.
So, before the King of Iron Fist Tournament 5, Paul reflected on his loss to Kuma and realised that he was defeated due to being overconfident, training from scratch to rediscover what he had lost. Judging from the images, he basically went to the forest, kicked some trees, and he was good again. Anyway, it must have paid off because, surprise, he got matched up against Kuma again. And while it was a tough battle, Paul takes the W.
I finally mopped the floor with your bare hide!
What do you mean finally? You've beaten Kuma every other time. God, this is lazy writing. So, looks like Paul is on the right track to getting back to the top, yeah? Well, you're wrong again, because Paul was a tired boy after his fight with Kuma, and he had to bounce from the tournament. And that's all I have to say for him in Tekken 5. Tekken 6. Tekken 6 is peak sad for Paul in my opinion. So at this point, Paul has a serious amount of debt. I'm unsure of how much exactly, so it has to be at least $10. Anyway, the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 gets announced by Jin. Again, the lore here is a bit whack. It's suggested that Jin announced to King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 to lure Kazuya out. Either way, the tournament never finished due to World War III happening and Jin disappearing. Fair enough. So Paul decides to enter the tournament for prize money, and hatches a plan. Instead of it being just him going for the prize money, what if he had a team? So he gets Martial Law and Steve Fox to enter to increase the odds of them getting the prize money. Short diversion, if you make it through the arcade mode in Tekken 6, you see that Paul and Marshall had some devious tricks to make it all the way to the finals. Laxatives, boarding up other contestants, and then they try to rig the finals. And this just sucks. Paul is all about proving he's the strongest. The Paul I know wouldn't resort to devious tricks. Also, why bother rigging the finals? Just have one of you win and share the prize money. Dumb ending. Anyway, that isn't even canon. The tournament got called off due to Jin going missing, so all we know is that Paul has debt. There's not too much to say about Paul in Tekken 7. A tournament got announced, he was going to enter for prize money, the tournament got cancelled due to Hachi being a dead boy, and Paul got sad. That's basically it. According to the official Tekken 7 website, it states that Kuma is the better fighter of the two. Let's just move on. Paul fans worldwide were waiting, hopeful for the redemption arc that Paul deserved, and then his reveal trailer dropped.
Hey yo, what the
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I don't mind Paul's look in Tekken 8. I know people have been saying he has that "let me speak to the manager" haircut, but I don't think it's that bad. It's not perfect, but it's not horrible. Give it a solid 6 out of 10. So, story-wise, he defeats Law to earn his spot in the tournament, representing North America Block A. He states that he's keen to give Kazuya a good smack in the face, so potential rematch on the cards. The tournament gets cut early due to Kazuya releasing that Azazel guy, and Paul joins Team Jin to help against Kazuya's tyranny. Tyranny? To help against Kazuya's tyranny. As Paul helps on the battlefield, his friend Marshall jumps in to combat him. It's revealed that Marshall has joined G-Corp, I assume for money. What a surprise. It's revealed that they had a pact to share the prize money, but Paul has already gone and spent the earnings. So I gotta say, that is the quickest payout ever considering the circumstances. And what the hell did Paul spend it on already? He did say there was none left, so he obviously received something. Dog move, Paul. After Paul defeats Law, we get this heartfelt scene where Kuma jumps in to battle Paul and accidentally saves Paul's life by taking a missile to the back. Paul misunderstands his situation, thinking Kuma saved his life on purpose, and I think this happy accident has squashed the beef between Paul and Kuma. Because in the ending credits, we see this photo of Paul and Kuma standing together. Sorta. And that's a wrap on his current Law status. He still had to prove he's the strongest in the universe and to pay off his debt. I think. Maybe that's what he spent the money on. I don't know. So as I said earlier in the video, I feel as though they had a perfect opportunity for Paul to regain some respect in Tekken 8 without impacting the story at all. Here's what I would have done. Okay, so Kazuya has arrived at the Kazuma Sanctum, where Jin is regaining his powers. As Kazuya walks up, he is confronted by, not you, Paul! We never settled our score. You? Don't make me laugh. Get out of my way and I won't humiliate you. What am I doing? Oh, sorry, stay in character. Humiliate? Haven't you heard? I'm the strongest in the universe. This delusion of yours will be your downfall. Paul thinks to himself, I don't need to win. I just need to hold him off long enough to buy Jin as much time as possible. It's an intense battle, with Paul at one point knocking Kaz back with his Phoenix Smasher. You are truly one of the strongest, but enough is enough. It's at this moment that Kaz hits Paul with a huge amount of devil power, knocking Paul down. As Paul struggles back to his feet, ready to go again, Lars jumps in to help hold off Kazuya and resume the original story. This is just a quick version, but I think this would have been a perfect way to revive that rivalry. Fuck. I think this would have been a perfect way to revive that rivalry between Paul and Kaz, and giving Paul some respect back, which I think he definitely deserves. Maybe in a different timeline. And that's it. Paul has a lot of feats that puts him in the upper tier of fighters, basically alongside the Mishimas, but unfortunately he keeps getting shafted into comedic relief situations. I definitely think there can be a balance of both, but hey, maybe Tekken 9 will actually make Paul the strongest in the universe. Until then, enjoy your day.